those things are.
Exactly.
It depends what you're at, and you get rejected work instead of having a cocktail.
Lavish ones. You know, some of the solutions
Considered to be the oil, even though Ebru set up a neighborhood killed so easily. So that's very important.
44 minutes past the hour, we welcome you back to Ebru Today. Well, have you ever heard the saying, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up nowhere? Well, many people, young or older, are sometimes asked today, what is your vision for your life for the next 5 years or 10 years? Well, they might not know. Joining us now is Faith Saunders, president of Keepsakes by Faith, who says having a vision for our life has many benefits. And welcome back to the show. Great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's talk about identifying your vision. We were just talking about this and why it's such a good thing to maybe improving your life.
Well, having a vision gives you clarity. It gives you some focus in terms of what you're doing with your life and give you purpose. So often we get so caught up with the daily routine that we have to go through, but we're doing things that are not really providing giving us satisfaction in our lives. So having a vision actually helps you to kind of focus on the things that are really important to you and actually start taking steps towards achieving those, hence you're having a more fulfilled life.
And I sometimes call that robot, when you're in that robot mode where you're just kind of plugging through and plugging through. So what kind of strategies can people take to get a more focused life?
Okay. Well, I think there are a number of things that you could actually do. One area of actually finding out really what is really important to me, because sometimes what we think is important to us is not really the core thing that our spirit wants us to do.
Other if you're kind of struggling with that, though? If you're not really sure, how do you find the answer? I mean, you can go sit on top of a mountain, I guess you can meditate or something.
Maybe you could do that. But there are other ways to actually do it. You could journal. I think sometimes when you journal and just write, you can actually see a lot of things. A lot of things come out. Things that your mind is sometimes so cluttered that you cannot really think very clearly, but writing does kind of put things out for you, and you can actually see some patterns, especially if you're journaling over a period of time. You can actually see parts of your lives where you're not satisfied with, and that's a sign that maybe this is one area that I need to take steps in terms of improving.
And do you recommend keeping a journal and writing in it every day?
It depends on the individual. I'm a person who journal. I don't do it every day as I used to do in the past. I have a ton of journals, but journaling for me is very important, especially when I'm going through a tough time, to actually really write what I'm feeling, and really it does make me feel better. And I've heard other people who have said the same.
I love this right here, Captain of My Life. Of course, I used to have a ship, but that's a great expression. Tell me about Keepsakes of Faith. I know you've brought in a couple of little things to show us here, but tell me about your organization and what you do.
My company, Keepsakes by Faith, the main purpose is to actually help people to feel good about themselves by living a positive life. So living a positive life includes being able to identify what is important to me and working and living that life. So our focus is actually working with women to actually help them to empower them to take strides towards achieving their visions and goals.
Do you actually have like little classes?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a slew of classes. In fact, I started that component of the business this year, where we're doing a series of workshops. It's called You're a Gift. Okay. And the main focus is actually helping people to identify their vision by doing vision boards. That's another way of actually identifying what your vision is. And for people who don't know what a vision board is.
I was just going to say, what is a vision board?
A vision board is getting a piece of paper and actually going through magazines and pictures, and not necessarily thinking about it, but just going and looking at pictures and see what really touches you. And just tearing them out of the paper, out of the book, and then out of the magazines. And you can look at a variety of different magazines. And then after that, you start looking at them and asking, what does this really mean? So for example, I may tear out a picture of a vacation spot and not even knowing why I did that, but after a while thinking about it, I haven't taken a vacation for umpteen years. I'm burnt out and I just need a break. So it's a way of actually connecting with really what's happening on the inside.
And I know we were talking about some of the reasons why sometimes people do get sort of like they put the brakes on moving forward. What if you find yourself in a time in your life where you can't move forward for whatever reason? Maybe it's an illness in somebody's family or whatever it might be. But what do you do to overcome that?
I think one of the key things is taking small steps. So often we think that we have to take these big leaps in order to reach our goals, but at times it's very important just to take little baby steps. Maybe just writing a plan. If you want to go on vacation, let's use that since I started with that. Start writing out little things that you will be doing in order towards reaching that goal. So maybe do I need to save more money? So what are some of the things I can do with my budget so I can put some money aside?
Okay, I love that. And I also love these cards that you have. You always have these beautiful, this is called Messages in a Tin. Ponder this, and I'm just going to read one. You use this for daily affirmations, favors for special occasions such as showers, weddings, and other gifts. And so you have like little inspirational messages in here.
Yeah.
I love this. That's terrific. And you also have these cards?
Yeah, I have different cards. The main focus is actually providing supports for individuals. You're asking, how do we reach our goals? One of the key pieces, not only just identifying what we want to do, coming up with a plan in terms of how we're going to be doing it, but having a support network to help us with that. So the next support also includes not only people, but also sometimes things.
Well, Faith Saunders, again from Keepsakes by Faith, we thank you so much for being here at Ebru today. We hope you come back.
Okay, thank you so much.